Good day, Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another enlivening session here at the Meticulous Moments podcast. Guys, it has been an impeccable 3 years. I'm starting with season 3 this year, and I just want to say thank you so much to each and every guest. Thank you so much to each and every follower. Our community is growing. And of course, our tagline is community upliftment through leadership development. And today I have the wonderful honor to interview my good friend, brother, fellow martial artist. He's a model, he's an author, he does acting. There's so many things that he's busy with, and that is Shihan Charles Heimlich. And I had the honor to meet him at the Action Martial Arts Hall of Honors this year in Atlantic City. So welcome, Charles. Feel welcome here with our family.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great. And it was great meeting you there as well. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I forgot to mention that Charles is a fellow member in the Spartan Hall of Warriors as well, together with
Yeah.
Donna Kinsella Keating and Ed, our friend Ed Rainey, and also a shout out to Duke Fabio Bevilacqua. It's his Hall of Warriors, and we are looking forward to his event in May. Now, Charles, you have been doing so many things in the martial arts world. You've published 3 books as well. You're a Shihan, you're a 7th degree in Goju. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So yeah, I basically started martial arts in 1982. And I really went right into it, and I really fell in love with it because it really did change my life, and it actually saved my life multiple times. I don't even know how many, more than 5 times. So I know that it's real. I know that it's true, and I think, and that's why I believe in it, and I'm so strong in wanting to teach it because I know that it can change lives, people's lives, and it can put people in a different perspective and help people in so many ways. There's so many benefits, right?
Yes.
So there's so many. I mean, even to talk to you for like, we can have meeting after meeting and still not get through all the benefits, and how it can change people's lives because it's mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Nothing else in the world does that, right? Except for the martial arts. So it does change people's lives, and I feel good that I'm out there helping to motivate people, help change their lives, get them going. And at the same time, I always wanted to be an actor. So when I was in high school, I took some acting classes and things like that. And that was one of my things I wanted to do, to be an actor. And I I wound up getting married, having kids, and life changed those things. Which is great, right? So then, now that they're all grown up, I want to get back into the acting. In the past 5 6 years, I've gone through different classes with some pretty big people, and so I put myself back on the spectrum of acting, and I'm building my acting career pretty well right now. It's doing really good. It's flourishing well, and I'm happy and proud about that. And at the same time, I decided years ago I always wanted to write a book. So while I was training in the martial arts, I wound up doing a children's book. It was my first book. It was Thomas the Autonomous Hippopotamus, still out there. It's a really good book because it what it does is it just promotes a well-being for children. To teach them how to become autonomous and to be proud of who they are, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of kids go through so many different emotional stages in life, and they get lost sometimes, and they need to know and they need to understand it's okay to be proud of who you are.
Yes.
So it's a self-motivational type of book to teach them to be motivated and be proud of themselves. So I that was my first book, and then I wound up taking it to a step further with Super B. My Super B Ruby book is basically designed. It's kind of like for kids and for parents,
Mhm.
because the parents can read it to the kids and the kids can actually read it back forth, and there's different things on there that they can do together. So for example, I have, and it's all done in a little poem type of way. And so, they have one page is basically about, a code word. What is a code word? When a child goes out into school or is going somewhere, and somebody hears their name and they try to call them and say, hey, listen, your mom told me to pick you up, you need to come with me, Joey. And Joey would get in the car because he wouldn't know any better, right? This guy knows my name. I don't know who he is, but he knows my name, so I'm going to go. So I designed this code word so the child can say to the perpetrator, in this case, what's my code word, and they won't know what he's talking about, obviously. So then he knows to get out of there and run and get some help.
Yeah.
And so the only code is between the parent and the child. Nobody else knows, and what I suggest is they change it up every once in a while as well, and keep that code word personal and private, just the parent and the child and nobody else. So those are the kinds of things that this book is about, child safety and different things, and of course, like, grooming themselves and things, brushing their teeth. It's got all kind of stuff in there on how to take care of themselves. So I think it's a pretty nice book on self-help, self-care. And again, it has the parents involved in that as well. So it's great. So it's a great book. And then my third, and hopefully not my last, but my third book is is basically a self-defense book. So it's I defined it to be for women. So it was originally called the 911 Emergency Pocket Manual for Women. I wanted to design it as a pocket manual and make it so that you had it available all the time, so you can pull this thing out, and if you're in a situation, you can get some ideas of what to do, what not to do. But it grew a little bit more into a full book. So, but it still has a lot of self-defense techniques. It also has a lot of different pages on awareness, self-awareness, criminal awareness, all those kinds of things that are important. Because as you know, if you're aware and alert, that alone makes you 98% safer, right? Because they're looking for victims that are, not aware and don't know what's going on around them. And it cracks me up when I see these young teenagers, walking down the street with a cell phone in their hand, walking into telephone poles.
Yeah.
If you can walk into a telephone pole, then you got some serious problems, right? So I'm trying to teach them to be more aware of what's going on around them. And that can make you a lot safer. So yeah, that's what the books are about.
Wow, I love that. Oh my goodness, the first one, talking about kids and how we learn to accept ourselves and love ourselves, because that love that we have for ourselves, that emanates out to other people. And it really, if we put that energy out in the universe, that energy comes back to us. So that's a wonderful thing. I think self-acceptance is very, very important. And that's something that martial arts also brought into our lives, accepting ourselves and really digging deep in ourselves and getting those golden nuggets out of ourselves to see what we're capable of, learning those lessons, shaping our character. I think that was my favorite part about the martial arts journey so far, is developing my character, getting me to a place where the self-acceptance had to happen and the self-empowerment was there and the adaptability was there and that grit and that grind, it does something to you. So absolutely love that. The second book, my goodness, a code word that should be taught in schools. Charles, I believe you should reach out to schools and let them put that book in the syllabus. That can save so many lives, because our little kids need to be taught about the dangers out there, and it will keep them. That's a wonderful, wonderful way to keep them safe. And then, of course, the martial arts part. I mean, self-defense is key. We live in such a dangerous world. I make it a point to, always, like you as well and fellow martial artists, we are always aware of our surroundings. I always teach the students, I say, when actually our subconscious, we just need to learn, to realize that our subconscious already tells us when we go into a setting or a room, you already know if you're going to be safe or not. And we need to be aware of that. It's not just good enough that our subconscious knows that. Consciously, we need to be aware. who is walking
Absolutely.
too close to us, who's been following us for a while, has the car been circling, things like that. So that is great empowerment for women, especially. Now, you've been busy doing so much good out there in the community, and you also, train these women to protect themselves. What's your favorite go-to move, for instance, for a woman if there's a scenario and she's attacked?
The favorite go-to move for self-defense for women?
Yes.
Well, obviously, what's the best self-defense? Not being there, right?
Yeah.
So the main thing that I think is important is to, first of all, trust your instincts. These too many people don't trust their instincts, and you get that gut feeling, and something's not right, and you feel it and you sense it, but you don't do anything about it, and that's where the problem is. I think women need to be taught to understand and listen to what their body's telling them. If you're feeling something, then go with it. Do not fight that. Absolutely trust it and get out of the situation immediately, because you sense danger. It's a gut feeling. You have it instinctively. Don't dismiss that. I think that's where most of the problems are when a situation does occur, because you didn't listen to that.
Yes.
So again, being aware, being alert, listening to your instincts are critical, very critical for personal protection. Secondly, I would think that even if you didn't study the martial arts like we do, then at least learn some basic things. So, and that's what my book is about. It's really simple. It's got simplified self-defense techniques that anybody can do.
Good.
And you don't have to have a real true martial arts background. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be in great shape. You don't have to. It's not complicated. They're very simple and very effective. They're street smart, effective techniques. They're tactical and practical, and that's what's important. So yeah, anybody can do these basic things. And once you understand basic techniques, again, I believe a woman has to be autonomous enough and believe in herself enough so that she's able to do those things. Because, I've talked to so many women, and in the street, or I'll get in an elevator and I'll say, why did you just let me in this elevator? Why did you just hold that door open for me? They'll be like, well, because I just thought it was the right thing to do. Well, I could be your murderer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who I am. Now, of course, I scare them a little bit, but you know what? Sometimes we need to do that to waken them up, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I want them to understand, you do not hold that elevator door open for somebody, that don't take those extra chances. Why would you do that? Because you're trying to be nice. You're trying to be kind. We don't live in that world anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing about being kind and being nice and helping each other, and it's great. Yes, we want to do those things, but not at the point where if you're alone and you're in a situation, and you're in a parking garage and it's late at night, and this guy comes out of nowhere, you're going to hold the door open for him? It just don't make sense, right? So no, don't do those things. Don't do those extra things at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be comfortable with yourself. I think for most women, they need to understand that they have a right, and this is where the autonomy comes from. They have a right to protect themselves. They have a moral right, a God-given right, and a legal right, right? So yeah, legally, you have a right to defend yourself and protect yourself at all means and at all costs. I think from all the women's self-defense courses that I've done throughout the years, and I've done lecture type courses, and I've done hands-on self-defense courses. And I found that you got two types. You have the type that really want to learn the physical part of it. How do I do this and how do I get out of that? And then you have the other types that don't want to do those things, but still want to understand how to protect themselves. So I kind of formulated my self-defense courses to have both the lecture part and go right into the physical part. So those women that didn't want to do that can just leave at that point. I found that worked out well. And even with the lecture part, though, I've had women stand up and walk out because they said, "Oh, you're scaring me." So, well, I'm not here I'm trying to educate you, not
Yes.
scare you. So some of the stuff, yeah, it can be scary, but you got to
Yeah.
open your mind to what's going on. If you don't want to admit what's going on out in the street, then you're living in a dangerous situation right there, because you
Yes.
don't want to acknowledge what's happening.
Yeah.
And I go over the crime clock. I go over that with them as well, and I explain it. I explain different, not just the crime clock itself, but also the statistics. Which, yeah, okay, it can be scary. And I'll tell them, look, some of these statistics are scary, but I'm trying to educate you. I'm
Yes.
not trying to scare you. And so basically, I think that and for the most part, I believe that those courses are successful. And I've seen some courses where they're not teaching the women the right kinds of things and the right ideas and the right techniques. And that kind of gets me upset when I see those kinds of things, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to give a false sense of security. What
Mm-hmm.
we want to do is give women a real true sense of self-defense and self-esteem, so that they can comprehend and understand and do what they have to do to protect themselves. But this false sense of security that a lot of these places are giving them, it's actually a shame. And that's why I'm into it to teach for real.
Mm-hmm.
And the techniques are real. The techniques are absolutely real. And again, I go with the basics, for self-defense. So situational awareness, everything like that, and how to deal with certain situations. You got to know what to do in case of this, in case of that, and be able to adjust. Nothing beats going to a karate school and learning, the full martial arts. That obviously is the best, but for people that can't do that, or don't want to do that and just want to know how to protect themselves, these courses are important. But I think more important than that is when if a woman is looking for a self-defense course, they need to know the instructor. And this is another thing that I found. Me being a man is not always a good thing for women, because they don't want to hear from a man, because if they've been in a situation, they've been attacked, they're not going to trust a male in that sense. So I've always brought in 2 or 3 female students of mine who helped me do the courses. And I would use those guys as my ukis instead of, and of course, again, you still get looked at a certain way when you're taking a girl and you're doing techniques.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, how dare him do that to her?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You have to learn it.
Yes.
And these students are, and I explain that my students are highly trained. They're
Yes.
highly trained to do what they're doing. You may not be trained for that right now, and you may not understand what you're seeing. So I try not to go too deep into like the black belt type techniques, because they wouldn't understand that. And they would view that as a negative. They wouldn't view that as a positive. So I try to keep it real, and I try to keep it authentic, but at the same time, we want to show them the positive things of martial arts.
I think that's impeccable, Charles. You go about teaching it the right way. I was thinking when you were talking about having that false sense of security, that's even more dangerous than, being in a dangerous situation, because you have to learn, you have to get that muscle memory going. That's why when you go to the dojo, yes, they are going to show you the techniques. They're going to do the techniques on you so that you know what to expect. I'm thinking about a break fall, a side fall, a role that you can do, teaching the ladies that you don't hesitate in that moment. You don't step back, you step forward to close that gap, little things that can save their lives. And I'm glad that that you work with these women and empower them. I believe every single woman out there should at least once in their lives go for a self-defense lesson, because you never know what's waiting around that next corner. The world has changed, like Charles has said, guys. It's dangerous out there. And yes, I understand that there are women that have been hurt by men that might want a female instructor. So I commend you in bringing that diversity in as well in your studio, in your martial arts studio, for those who feel more comfortable learning from a woman. But being thrown like that, learning those techniques about the levers and the pressure points, all of that, ladies, is there also to condition your body. You have to condition your body because your body will be used to it then, and you will know how to react. So it's a wonderful thing that martial arts does in us. I tell people, Charles, before I went to do martial arts, I really searched for myself. I was looking for who I am, and I found myself in the arts. And it's something that sticks with you. It's something, like you mentioned, that touches us in a holistic manner. It influences every single part of our lives. And I teach, when I coach people, I teach them that I today, as I'm sitting here with you, I take martial arts principles and I actually employ them in the rest of my life. I employ them in my business. I bring them into my family because my kids also do martial arts. I bring them into all the spheres of my life because they are principles that we can adapt to different fields and different arenas. So tell us a little bit about your journey with Goju. How did you start martial arts in the first place?
Well, it's something I really always wanted to do ever since a kid, watching Bruce Lee movies and Billy Jack. Billy Jack was a big one for me. When I saw that this guy could just take control and just nobody can stop him, and nobody can put him in a position where he can't be in control of himself and what he needs to do, and he can empower other people and save the community. When you see that kind of power, that's very enlightening. So as a youngster, I was always interested in learning it. And of course, my parents didn't have money, and there wasn't really martial arts around when I was younger. There's not very many around, and of course, you never heard of a karate school when I was a kid. So as I got older, I played sports most of my life. I've always been athletic. So I played football in high school, and then I went into soccer. And then because I'm too short for football, so I wound up going to soccer, and I stayed in soccer for a number of years. I actually went to semi-pro soccer, and played semi-pro soccer for a number of years. And then as the soccer was coming to an end, I was actually thinking about, and I took some boxing lessons and things like that. I messed around with it as a kid. But then I realized, I want to really try. I really want to learn this. And so I remember taking out the yellow pages, which we don't have anymore.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, right. So I'm looking through this book, and of course I don't know anything about the martial arts, and I don't know who should teach it and who should not, and who am I looking for? What am I looking for? So I came across all these different ads, and I'm thinking to myself, well, martial arts is Asian, so maybe that's what I want to see, but that's not necessarily true, right? So what I found this one article, and it looked good, and he had a nice coupon in there. So it turned out to be Rick Pascetta, and Rick Pascetta was a main character in the Goju system. And it turned out that he was a student of Peter Urban, and Peter Urban brought Goju to America in 1956. Right? So yeah, he's the founder of American Goju Karate. Yeah. And he actually trained under Yamaguchi, who trained under Sensei Miyagi, right? Miyagi Karate Do, right? Which is Karate Kid, right? Yes. And that's where that history comes from. That history is all the movie. The history behind that movie, The Karate Kid, is all true. It's all real, and that's what I like about that film. So anyway, so I went with Rick Pascetta, and I joined up, and I fell in love with it. I realized, oh my God, this is great. And I'll tell you a quick little story of how I really, really realized and fell in love with it so much, because I remember one night I was like a yellow or an orange belt, just getting my orange. And And my sensei said, I want you to go out there and I want you to spar with this girl. And I said, come on, I'm not gonna spar a girl. I'm thinking I'm tough. I'm 20 years old, and I'm thinking I'm gonna spar a 16-year-old girl. I don't want to hurt a little girl. And I go out there and I'm like, okay. And I'm just messing around thinking I don't want to hurt her. And she wound up, boom, 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 hits me. I was like, whoa, okay. She hit me so hard a couple times, I didn't know what was going on. And then I was like, okay. So I tried to pick it up, and I could not. Even if I tried, I couldn't hit this girl. Couldn't do anything. She did all kinds of techniques which she was a purple belt. Yeah. So she kind of, So when I realized that this girl can control this whole situation no matter what, I was like, I was amazed. I was so amazed that I couldn't do anything to protect myself against her. And she did like spinning back kick, dropped me on one knee, came back with a spinning back fist. And I was like, all right, I don't even know what you're doing right now. So I truly, and I owe her a lot. And she went on to become a police officer. Wow. And great girl. And I'm forever indebted to her for that. She inspired me a lot, and just watching her in class and just learning from that was a big lesson for me. Yeah. And I'll never forget that. So that's why I fell in love with karate and especially Goju. Goju is a great art for me personally because of my size. I'm a smaller stature, and it works well because it's a Japanese martial art. It's well balanced. It's 50% hands, 50% feet. It's offensive and defensive, and it's hard and soft. So it has all the combinations of all the martial arts. And I think that's what I love about it.
Absolutely. I loved hearing that story. That is a testimony of the power of martial arts, and it doesn't matter what gender we are. It doesn't matter, if we're tall or short. I'm a short person, but it teaches us how to use our body in a certain way so that we generate that power, from our hips, whatever we are busy with. It can come from the hips or it can come from your shoulders. Depends on what style you do. Footwork is so important. It teaches you everything, and I absolutely love that style. I want to shout out to Dame Donna Kansila Keating, because she also does Goju, and she's amazing. And I stayed with her for a week after the event, and we talked a lot of martial arts. We spent a lot of time together. Just hold on. Sorry, my phone is ringing. I'll cut this piece out. Where is it now? Sorry, that happens. I'll just cut that part. So a shout out to, thank you. So a shout out to Dame Donna, because when we were talking martial arts that week, she showed me a few things, and I showed her a few things from my style. And let me tell you something. She is powerful. She is powerful, and she's done it for so many years. I know she can walk down the street and she can kick anybody's butt, because she's got that muscle memory. And it doesn't matter what age we start. I think Dame Donna started when she was 55. I started in my 30s. I've been doing that for almost a decade now. And you weren't able to go when you were a child at first, because dojos weren't a thing. I wasn't allowed to, because in those days, believe it or not, my mom said, no, karate is just for boys. It's just for boys and men. Right. Yeah, so she was like, you're already a tomboy, you need to stay away from that. And later in my life, I took my son, and I saw the great change in him. It was like 2 or 3 months that he was into it. And I went to the kiosk and I said, can I join? Because there were no adults. And he said, of course you can join. And that's how my journey started. So guests out there, you don't have, it's not just a certain gender. It's not connected to your age at all. Your stature doesn't matter, if you're tall or short or whatever. Anybody can learn the arts. Anybody can get those techniques down. And it's not you are in competition with yourself. When you go to the dojo, you empty your mind, and you are there teaching and training yourself. That's your competition. Tell me a little bit, Charles, with all the years that you've been teaching individuals, what's a success story that you can think of someone maybe starting out and, doing something great later on or getting a technique down? It can be the small things that can bring the biggest changes in our lives.
Yeah. Well, for me, I guess one of the biggest points for me teaching was I have two big ones actually. I had a female student who we have I don't know if you know or familiar with the dojo rules and 10 commandments of Goju, but we have dojo rules and 10 commandments of Goju. They're not mine. I didn't make them up. They're of Goju. So they're ancient. And so one of them is we shall always be persons of quality. And I remember this female student, and I knew that I could tell something wasn't right with her. She didn't seem very happy, but she took karate. She got to a certain level. When she got to about her orange green level, she came to me one night and she said, this changed my life. I said, what do you mean? She said, this karate has changed my life. You have changed my life. And she explained to me that every night we recite these 10 commandments. And she said, I kept rehearsing this in my mind. We shall always be persons of quality. She was married to a very, a man that was very abusive. He was an alcoholic. He hurt her all the time. But she was one of those that believed she deserved it, and didn't want to do anything about it. And of course, he was always apologetic every time, there was a situation. And she stayed with him. She stayed with him all those years. But because of her karate training, she said she got up one morning. She said, I am going to be a person of quality and I'm going to have quality in my life. And she got him out of her life. And she was strong enough and she was brave enough to take that step to kick him out of her life and get rid of him completely. Yeah. And she was so happy, and she was crying and telling me this story, and and it just hit me because wow, I didn't know all that. She never explained any of those things before. I could tell something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was. And when I found out, then it all made sense. And she went on to become a great student, a great person, and changed her life completely. And that is what it's all about.
I think that is absolutely phenomenal. It's heart-wrenching and it's edifying at the same time. And that one story touches so many lives. There's so many women out there that go through that on a daily basis, and they need that empowerment. They need that adjustment. They need that change. And that is what martial arts facilitate. I think that's what I love about the arts for women and children as well, and it's wonderful to see how it's just bringing positivity. It's bringing upliftment to the community. It's really helping people to go from strength to strength. Now, your journey has been, how many years have you been doing Goju? I mean, it's been quite a while. Have you wandered into other styles, or have you stuck with your style?
That's a good question. I actually started, like I said, officially in 1982. So it's been about 45 years that I've been training, and I've been teaching probably about 35 of those years as well. So I opened up my first school in 1999, and I was actually authorized to open up my school as a brown belt. My sensei, Rick Pascettas, allowed me to open up a school as a brown belt, which was unheard of. Nobody ever heard of doing something like that, and that was my concern was, people are not going to look at me legitimately, or, should I be doing this at this level? Is it even acceptable to people? And he said, you know what, I'm telling you to do it, so just do it. And so I did, because I realized way back when I was training that I really wanted to teach it. I knew one day that I would be doing it, and I remember looking at his business card thinking, I want my name on this business card, and so So that became a dream of mine to become a teacher and to actually have a karate school. And I was successful in obtaining that. So, so as far as your question, I did study a little bit of Aikido, and of course, I've taken several seminars with all the different friends of mine, celebrity friends that I have from over the years. That I've become acquainted with, Cynthia Rothrock. I've done several seminars with her. Yeah, great girl, love her. I'm actually in her movie, Black Creek.
Oh,
I was
fantastic.
yeah, so I'm in that. And I'm hoping I can get into Black Creek 2. She's actually in the middle of writing Black Creek 2 right now as we speak. So we're looking for Black Creek to come out pretty soon. I know they're in the final stages of editing for that film project. And that was a film project that was a dream of hers to actually do, because she's never done a Western and she always wanted to do that. So God bless you, Cynthia Rothrock. And she did a great job. The cast was great. The crew was great. We filmed in Arizona, which was actually freezing cold. You would never know the desert's that cold, but it was cold. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, I've taken, I've looked at different things in different styles and different martial artists throughout the years. I blended some things to go into my Goju system as well. I also have a black belt with Michael Depasquale. God rest his soul. God bless him. Michael passed away about a year and a half ago, and we were honoring Michael Depasquale at the event. Actually, I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but they had a special presentation at the event for him, and so I do have my black belt in combat jiu-jitsu. That's what he taught. And I think it actually it definitely complements the Goju system, because it's there's so many related things. There's, as you know, you can blend almost anything really. But these blend really well together. Aikido and combat jiu-jitsu blend very well with the Goju system, so it's good. So I done that. And just to mention real quick, another reason why I feel so strong about teaching and to help people is because I was a police officer as well. So I became a police officer, and I was shot in 2001, and that ended my police career. And and yeah, so from there is why I got even more serious about teaching my classes, um and still trying to help people. Because I've seen a lot of things in the police department, things that are I guess the best word to put it in is I'm not sure how to put it really. It's there's two sides to being a police officer, basically, and there's a corrupt side, and then there's the side that you swear, when you swear on the Bible to uphold the laws and to help people. You got those two aspects, and the corruption. The corruption is very deep, and what my goal was to help stop that corruption, to change it, to have an effect, to help change those things. Because, and I'll tell you what I believe is, a lot of times, a lot of these police officers, they don't get the right training, they don't get the proper training, and they don't get enough personal protection, self-defense, karate. And so they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle a situation. So they handle.
Yeah. We're freezing.
They allow it to do that because I believe they're just not trained properly or well enough to equip them with that kind of situation. Yeah. And I knew that right from the start because of my martial arts career. And I believe the martial arts martial arts police officers are the best police officers out there.
Oh,
They're
yes.
they're not subject to the corruption. They're
Mm-mm.
not. They don't have the prejudice that a lot of these police officers have, and they know how to handle all different types of situations, and they handle it properly, and that's important. It doesn't take 10 cops to take somebody down.
Mm-mm.
You know, one police officer can do that with ease, and if you know martial arts, right?
That's
Which is again what we teach a woman to do. I could teach a woman to hold down a guy with one finger, literally, and 200-pound man she can hold down with one finger, and it blows their mind when I tell them they could do that. And then I teach it and I show them. They're like, "Wow, are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're holding down a full size 200-pound man with one finger and he can't move." And that's huge. That's important stuff. And again, and this is why you need to empower. I believe in empowering people and changing lives, and that's my goal. My goal is to not. I want to stick with the karate. I want to stick with my acting career, but I think one of my biggest goals in life is to help change people's lives even more. And whatever we can do to affect them and change their lives, that's what I want to do. I want to help people and be able to make a change in the world.
yeah.
So
I think that is wonderful. It's commendable. Charles, it's wonderful that you bring that upliftment, that you want to make the world a better place, definitely. And here at Meticulous this year, and that's what we do through Meticulous as well, is our two power words are impact and influence. And we do that through the martial arts and having interviews like this and bringing that knowledge to people, because there are people out there that learn these lessons, that the dots are connected for them as you are explaining a situation. Something clicks in their mind and they realize they can also do it. If someone else
yeah,
has been able to achieve and attain and reach those goals and meet those visions, they can do it too. And I think that's so important, because martial artists give people, especially when they're teaching, they give people a voice. I remember a few years ago, there was a Christian band called Delirious, and the lead singer's name was Martin Smith. Now, they're not Delirious anymore. Martin started to do his own thing when they broke up, but they sang a song, they played a song, and it was called Break the Silence. And that
okay.
was so impeccable to me, because that song really relates to different areas of people's lives. But I feel like martial arts empowers people. It ignites something within them. We talked about the holistic body, soul, spirit, your mind, and it gives people a voice. It helps you to make not only a weapon of your body, but to get you into the right space, the right frame of mind, so that you know what is acceptable in your life and what is unacceptable, and to take action. And I think that breaks the change for a lot of people. So I think what you're doing is commendable. And I thank
Thank
you
you.
for everything you're doing out there. I actually met one of your students at the Hall of Honors, Karen. And I was there by, I think Silvio Simak had one of his students fighting. I think it was kickboxing, and Karen was there, and she told me she was going to compete in her kata. And she's just a lovely example of that exact empowerment. And I will let you elaborate on how well she did, because she's your student. Tell the audience how well she did that day.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, Karen's a good student. She's very dedicated to what she does as a martial artist. She is she I tell you what, she's very strong-willed. She's got a great strong will. Her willpower is amazing. She overcomes a lot of obstacles. Karen has gone through a lot. She's got a lot of medical conditions. She's had double knee replacements that she's had done in the past year.
Yeah.
So she had both her knees completely redone, uh, and never stopped training the whole entire time. She had one knee done, and like 7, 8 months later, she had the other knee done and never stopped training. She actually used the martial arts as her rehab. So I spoke with her doctors and I spoke with some of her rehab people, and we put together some martial arts drills and combinations and exercises to complement what the rehab wanted her to do. So we done that for her at the school. So I worked with her on that. She's also got some pinched nerve situations going on. She's got sciatic nerve damage. She's got a couple different discs in her back that she's actually in the hospital right now, being as we speak, getting a MRI to get surgery on her back.
Oh,
So we want to commend her for her efforts, her hard work, her dedication. She's sincere. She's for real.
great.
She's my assistant. She helps me out at the karate school a lot as well. She actually runs the school, so she's my assistant there as well. And so she takes charge of so many things at the karate school, which really helps me because it helps me run my school and helps me do my teaching while she's doing the other stuff, the paperwork and things like that. She does a lot of paperwork. So she's she's a great assistant. She helps me out a lot. And yeah, so we want to commend her for her hard work. And when I told her, so here's a funny story. I say, we're going to go to this event in January, and you know what? I want you to compete. She said, what? She goes, no way. I'm like, yes, I want you to, I'm going to have you compete. I want you to do kata. She's not in a situation that she could do the sparring at this point, or even breaking, because I haven't had a chance to really teach her breaking yet, which I will do. But when I told her, she was surprised, and I said, don't be surprised. You'll be fine. I said, and you don't want sympathy from the judges, but let the judges know that you do have a medical condition, and just say, I don't want no sympathy, but I just want to let you know that I do have this condition. And I told her that'd be okay to do. So she went out there, and she was a sport, and she never gave me a hard time. She said, yes, sir, I'll do it. She went out there and done it, and I filmed it. I was able to film it, so I do have it. And she did a great job, and she wound up winning first place. So we're proud of you. Yeah, big hand.
Very well done. Wow. And then there's the fruit of the labor. You invested your time, your skills, your expertise in her. She's doing all these things despite having a medical condition. And I know the martial arts also going to help her in the recovery process. That's what's so great about what we do, guys. It even helps your body recover. The moment you start.
And that's why she's training so hard right now, because she knows she's going to have a serious operation in 2 weeks. I believe it's March 8th, actually, for this back surgery. But we're trying to get her, and she's making every class so she can get her body nice and strong to get through this operation. And she said, and I'll still be in the karate school right as soon as this thing is over. And she'll never stop. So that, that takes some serious dedication. And it's not a lot of people can do that. So I'm proud of her for that.
Yes, there we go. She's got that willpower, and that's it's from your dojo and from the people she surrounds herself with. And she's got a absolutely great Shihan teaching her. Charles, I commend you on everything you do. You have my respect, and you are my fellow martial artist, my brother and my friend. And it's really an honor to know you. It is an honor to host you on the show. And I want to ask you if you have any final words of wisdom for the audience before we close the session off.
Final words of wisdom. Be yourself. Always believe in who you are. Whenever in doubt, fight that, and don't accept defeat. Never give up, never surrender, and never retreat. I believe that it's important, and especially today, 1 out of every 3 people are on depression and anxiety medications today. And I think that that's something we need to turn around. 1 out of every 3 people, that's too many people on drugs. And exercise alone can get you off the drugs. So we need to get these people back on top of their life, feeling good about themselves, self-motivated. I believe that you need to be proud of who you are, no matter what. And you got to understand that problems are nothing more than a chance to be successful. There's no such thing as a problem, and there's no such thing as can't. We don't want to use that. That's a bad 4-letter word we don't use in the dojo, right?
Yep.
CANT, bad word. I don't allow my students to even say that word. Yeah. One of the first things I teach my students when they sign up or when they come in to train, never say can't ever again, and never have an excuse for anything. Yeah. Martial artists don't have excuses, and we don't use that word. And I think if you learn to believe in yourself and you don't ever give up, well, here's a perfect thing, right? What's a black belt? A lot of times I'll ask people, what is a black belt? And they'll be giving me all these philosophical meanings. And I'll say, well, a black belt is a white belt who never quit. Basically, that's what it is, right? So never give up, never quit, and always fight for what you believe in.
I think that is the best advice I've heard this year. And, the interviews I've done, absolutely, it spoke to my heart, and I know it spoke to the audience as well. And I just want to thank you for the honor. You made time for me in your busy schedule. We had some technical difficulties. We hopped back on. I really respect you and honor you. Thank you for everything. Oes, thank you so much, Charles.
Oes, I respect you as well. And thank you so much for having me on your show. And I want to do another one with you as well. And I'm going to get the other one out there as soon as I can. So thank you so much. It's great talking to you again. Oes, God bless.
You. God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Super excited to be here with you today. The name is David Vravlik, and I am the founder and president of New Beginnings Motivation, and we are super excited to announce that we are teaming up and coming alongside to be a sponsor for Meticulous Moments with Juanita Kapp. This was an absolute joy to be able to come and to be able to be a sponsorship with her, not only because I believe in what she's doing and all the powerful moments that she's providing her community and the fact that she's invited me on her show a couple of times, but I'm also excited because she's a part of the family within the New Beginnings Motivation team. And it was a no-brainer when we had this conversation about teaming up with her. And so it is with an extreme honor that myself personally teaming up with Juanita Kapp. So super excited and much love, sister.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the U.S., in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members, growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.